You know, it's something that people need to stand up against and need to oppose the changes that are taking place. And I think people are beginning to wonder what kind of health services will we have left at the end of this process that we're being forced through at the minute by the government and, as they'll say, by the Troika and that as well. But it is our own government that's making these choices. It's our own Fine Gael ministers that are making them and our own Labour Party ministers that are making these choices. These choices aren't being pushed on us from abroad. They're not being pushed on us by the Troika or by the EU or by the IMF. It's our own government, our own elected politicians that are making these choices and forcing them on the people of Letterkenny. And I think the closure of the Gynae ward, and it is a closure no matter what the HSE try and say, they'll call it a reconfiguration, they'll call it an adjustment in services, but we all know that it's a closure, and it's a closure of the Gynae ward. And I think that's symptomatic of the problems that are here overall. When women's health and women's conditions can be put on the back boiler in order so that we can open a new ward, and it will be kind of a Pyrrhic victory when that new ward, a new emergency department opens next week, or when we see that it's been done on the back of closures of Gynae wards. There is alternatives that could have been taken. I believe that they could have taken the decision to close or to move female surgical beds into the existing Gynae ward and redeploy the staff on that basis. And that could have been something that could have been done to help keep the Gynae ward open.
A place that gave them solace and strength at times of their life and they were struggling with a crisis. It was such an important part of their lives and for their families. And we put it to the management of the hospital, because we listened to all the words about efficiencies and about the new block and the need to operate within resources. And we tried to cut through all of that jargon, and we said to them, if you had the proper budget to run this hospital, would you close down that ward? And their answer was no. And that says it all. We're in a country now that has no threshold of decency. It doesn't care about women when they're vulnerable. It takes away a precious resource for women at their most vulnerable. It takes away resources for disabled people who have a right to equality. There's nobody in that hospital that wanted to move that ward. There's nobody in that hospital that wants to let down the people of Donegal. So we need to stand by them. We need to tell the people in that hospital, the staff that work there, that we're with them. So the next objective now is a delegation, a cross-party delegation of politicians uniting together, pulling on the Donegal jersey and going to meet James Reilly with the facts and saying, we in Donegal have had enough, we've got a threshold of decency, we don't do things like this in Donegal, and fight back. So well done those of you who came here today. Ring your friends, ring your neighbours and build the move for the
People who contacted me about this wrong move were the staff, and it wasn't anything that was going to benefit them, because it wasn't about cutting jobs, it wasn't about cutting their conditions, but the empathy that they had with the people that they had treated and they had dealt with over the years. They could not let this happen, and that's the reason why they started this protest. There's no other reason for it. They see it, they know it. As Grania says, I stand here as a husband, I stand here as a son, and I stand here as a brother. I don't know what people have to go through when they have to get this service. But I have seen, unfortunately, members of families who have to go through this and the sensitivity around that. It affects everyone. And privacy, just as a small fraction, is the one thing that people require and people ask for. They look for a sanctuary, they look for a haven. Is there too much to ask?
Thank you all once again for taking the time to come out. For all our speakers, for arranging speakers, and just for everybody. But don't forget, this can be overturned. We need the support to keep the Gynae ward open. There's a lot of staff that's been there loads and loads and loads of years, and that's what they're trained on. Please don't give up on them. Thank you all.
Yes.